Welcome back to the channel. Rarest coins. Have you ever looked at your spare change and wondered if it might be hiding a small fortune? Well, today, we've got a special treat for you, the 1964D Lincoln penny. Yes, that's right, a penny. Believe it or not, some 1964D Lincoln pennies could be worth far more than just 1 cent. We're talking about rare error coins and valuable varieties that could make you thousands or even more if you know what to look for. Zooms in on the 1964D penny in their hand. Rarest coins. In this video, we're going to dive into what makes the 1964D Lincoln penny so valuable, the rare errors you should be looking for, and just how much money some of these pennies can fetch at auction. Trust me, you don't want to miss this. Let's get started. Cut to historical footage or images of the U.S. Mint from the early 1960s, with the voiceover providing context. Before we get into the rare errors, let's take a quick look at the history of the 1964D Lincoln penny. The Lincoln penny was first introduced in 1909, honoring Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States. For the first 50 years, the reverse featured a weak design, but in 1959, the U.S. Mint transitioned to the famous Lincoln Memorial reverse design, which is what you'll find on the 1964D penny. Cut back to the host holding up the penny with the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse side. In 1964, the U.S. Mint struck a massive number of pennies to meet the high demand for coinage. That year, the minting numbers were especially high for the 1964D penny, as it was produced at the Denver Mint. These coins were made from copper, weighing in at 3.11 grams and with a diameter of 19 millimeters. So, while most of the 1964D pennies you find today are worth just 1 cent, a few rare minting errors make this particular year special. Rarest coins shifts the penny slightly under a magnifying glass to emphasize its details. Now, you might be wondering, what makes the 1964D Lincoln penny worth more than its face value? The answer lies in minting errors, some mistakes made during the production process that make these pennies rare and valuable. While most 1964D pennies are just like any other penny, error coins can be worth thousands of dollars. Let's take a look at the top errors that make the 1964D penny so valuable. Rarest coins. 1. The 1964D Lincoln penny with a double die obverse, DDO. One of the most sought-after error types in the 1964D penny series is the double die obverse or DDO. This error happens when the die used to strike the coin is misaligned or improperly engraved, causing the design to be doubled on the coin's surface. Shows a 1964D penny with clear doubling on the word Liberty and the date. On a DDO coin, you'll notice double impressions on key areas of the coin, such as the date and the word Liberty. You may also see doubling on In God We Trust and even the portrait of Abraham Lincoln. The doubling can range from faint to strong, but the more obvious and pronounced the doubling, the more valuable the coin is. Zooms in on the doubling on a 1964D penny. The 1964D DDO penny is highly sought after by collectors. In general, these error coins can be worth anywhere from $100 to $2,000 depending on the severity of the doubling and the coin's condition. Some pristine, well-struck examples have been known to fetch $5,000 or more at auction. 2. The 1964D Lincoln penny with a clipped plankett error. Another error that can make the 1964D penny worth a lot of money is the clipped plankett error. A clipped plankett occurs when a portion of the metal used to create the coin is missed or clipped off before the coin is struck. This typically happens when the metal strip used for blank coins is missed into the press, resulting in an incomplete or irregularly shaped coin. Shows a 1964D penny with a clear clipped edge. Rarest coins. If you find a clipped plankett penny, you'll notice that part of the coin's edge is missing either from one side or in a jagged, irregular pattern. The larger and more noticeable the clip, the more valuable the coin becomes. Places a clipped 1964D penny on a coin display pad. A clipped plankett error can make the 1964D penny worth anywhere from $50 to $500, depending on the size and visibility of the clip. Larger clips or coins with a clear, dramatic error can sell for over $1,000 or more, especially if the coin is in great condition. Welcome back to the channel. Rarest coins. If you've ever wondered whether that loose change in your drawer or on your desk might be worth something, today's the day you might get some answers. We're talking about the 1979D Lincoln penny, a coin that you probably think is just another everyday penny, but in reality, it can be worth far more than just 1 cent. That's right, some 1979D Lincoln pennies are worth hundreds, even thousands of dollars if you know what to look for. The camera zooms in on the 1979D penny in the host's hand. Rarest coins. So in today's video, I'm going to show you why the 1979D Lincoln penny is so special, how to spot valuable errors and varieties, and exactly how much money these pennies can fetch at auction. Stick around, because you'll want to make sure you don't miss a single detail. Let's dive in. Cut to a vintage photo of the U.S. Mint from 1979, with voice-over narration. Let's set the stage with a little history. The Lincoln penny has been in circulation since 1909. And it has undergone various design changes over the years. By 1979, the coin featured the famous Lincoln Memorial reverse design by Frank. Cut back to the host holding the 1979D penny, produced by the Denver Mint. The 1979D penny was made of 95% copper and 5% zinc, weighing in at 3.11 grams and a diameter of 19 millimeters. The 1979D penny was part of a huge mintage run, with over 4 billion pennies struck that year, so it's not a rare coin in itself. However, certain varieties and minting errors make some of those pennies incredibly valuable. The camera zooms in on the 1979D penny in the host's hand, showcasing the features of the coin. Now, you may be asking, why is the 1979D penny worth more than just 1 cent? The key lies in the fact that not all 1979D pennies are created equal. There are certain errors and varieties that can make these pennies worth far more than face value. $2 million rarest coins. To break it down, there are 3 main factors that can make a 1979D Lincoln penny valuable. 1. The double die obverse. DDO, error. 2. The wide AM reverse variety. 3. Other minting errors such as off-center strikes and die cracks. 1. The 1979D Lincoln penny with the double die obverse. DDO. First up, let's talk about the double die obverse. DDO, error. This is one of the most significant and valuable errors you'll find in any coin series, and the 1979D Lincoln penny is no exception. Zooms in on the 1979D penny, showing the word Liberty and the date. Rarest coins. Here's how it works. The DDO error occurs when the coin's die is improperly aligned or struck multiple times. This causes the design to appear as if it has been doubled, particularly in areas like the date and Liberty. It's a major error that's easy to spot with a magnifying glass or under good lighting. Cut to a close-up of a 1979D penny with visible doubling on the word Liberty and the date. When you examine a 1979D DDO penny, look carefully at the Liberty inscription and the date. If you notice any doubling, meaning the letters appear to be slightly offset from one another, you've likely found a valuable error coin. The 1979D DDO penny can be worth anywhere from $100 to $2,000 depending on how strong the doubling is and the condition of the coin. The more pronounced the doubling, the higher the value. In pristine condition, especially if it's graded by a professional coin grading service like PCGS or NGC, it could fetch even more. 2. The 1979D Lincoln penny with the wide AM reverse. Next up, we have another incredibly rare and valuable variety, The wide AM reverse. This refers to the spacing between the A and M in the word America on the reverse of the coin. Shows a close-up of the reverse of the 1979 penny, pointing to the America letters on the standard 1979 Lincoln penny. The A and M in America are very close together. However, on the wide AM variety, the A and M are noticeably farther apart. Shows side-by-side comparisons of the regular close AM and the wide AM reverse varieties. The wide AM reverse is a minting error that was caused by an improperly positioned die, which led to the abnormal spacing between the letters. This makes the wide AM variety incredibly rare and desirable to collectors, while the 1979 wide AM penny isn't as common as the DDO error. It's still highly sought after. In fact, Welcome back to the channel. Rarest coins. Today's video is going to be one for all the penny collectors out there, because we're diving into the 1980 Lincoln penny, a coin that you might not expect to be worth much, but in reality, some of these pennies can be worth a lot of money. I'm talking about terror coins, rare varieties, and valuable mintage mistakes that can turn your pocket change into a potential gold mine. The camera zooms in on the 1980 penny in the host's hand. So if you've got a 1980 Lincoln penny in your collection or you've spotted one in your loose change, stick around because in today's video, we're going to break down why the 1980 penny could be worth far more than just 1 cent. You'll also learn how to spot those rare, valuable pennies that could be sitting right under your nose. Let's get started. Rarest coins. Cut to vintage footage or photos of the U.S. Mint from 1980. With voice-over narration. Before we get into the details of rare errors, let's take a quick look at the 1980 Lincoln penny and its context. By 1980, the Lincoln penny had already undergone a major design change. In 1959, the coin switched from the wheat design to the iconic Lincoln Memorial reverse, designed by Frank Gasparo. This design remained in circulation for decades and is still seen on the reverse of the penny today. Cut back to the host holding a 1980 Lincoln penny. The 1980 penny was produced in large quantities at the Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco mints. It was made from 95% copper and 5% zinc, weighing in at 3.11 grams and measuring 19 millimeters in diameter. It's important to note that, like many pennies from the 1980s, this coin has a high mintage, with billions produced that year, so it's not inherently rare. However, what makes the 1980 penny special is that there are some valuable varieties and errors that can make it worth far more than just 1 cent. The camera zooms in on the 1980 penny in the host's hand, showcasing the details of the coin. Now you might be asking, why is the 1980 penny worth more than face value? Well, the value of these coins doesn't come from the basic design but from errors and varieties that make them rare. These are the key factors that can drive the price up significantly. 1. The 1980 double die obverse, DDO. Error. 2. The 1980 off-center strike. 3. The 1980 close AM reverse. 4. Other minor minting errors like die cracks or double strikes. 1. The 1980 Lincoln penny with a double die obverse, DDO. Let's start with one of the most desirable and valuable errors you can find on any coin, and that's the double die obverse, DDO. This is a striking error that occurs when a coin's die is misaligned or improperly engraved, causing the image to be doubled. Zooms in on the 1980 penny and points out the word liberty and the date. For a 1980 DDO penny, the most noticeable doubling occurs on the date, the word liberty, and the phrase "In God We Trust." The letters on these areas will appear doubled or offset, and you can spot it by looking for shadows or additional outlines of the letters. Cut to a close-up of a 1980 DDO penny, highlighting the doubling on the word liberty and the date. The amount of doubling can vary from slight to very pronounced, and the more obvious the doubling, the more valuable the coin is. A typical 1980 DDO penny could be worth anywhere from $50 to $1,000, depending on its condition and how strong the doubling is. A high-grade example could even go for more at auction. 2. The 1980 Lincoln penny with an off-center strike. Rarest coins. Next, let's talk about another exciting error, The off-center strike. This is a minting mistake that occurs when the penny is fed into the press incorrectly, causing the design to be off-center or misaligned on the coin. Picks up an off-center 1980 penny and shows it to the camera. On an off-center strike, you'll notice that part of the coin is missing the design, while other areas might be overpressed, giving it an uneven, distorted look. The more off-center the strike is, the more valuable the coin can become. Places the off-center 1980 penny on a display pad, showing the error in detail. An off-center 1980 penny can be worth anywhere from $100 to $500, depending on how dramatic the off-center strike is. Some rare examples with extreme off-center strikes can be worth even more, especially if they're in good condition. 3. The 1980 Lincoln penny. Welcome back to the channel. Rarest coins. If you've ever thought that your spare change might be worth more than just its face value, today's video is going to give you a great reason to check those pennies again, because we're diving into the 1960 Lincoln penny, and trust me, it could be worth a lot more than just 1 cent. The camera zooms in on the 1960 penny in the host's hand. Rarest coins. That's right, the 1960 penny, which seems like a pretty standard coin at first glance, has some hidden rarities, errors, and varieties that can make it worth hundreds, even thousands of dollars. In this video, we're going to explore why the 1960 Lincoln penny is worth way more than face value, how to spot valuable errors, and exactly how much money you could make if you have the right kind of coin. So let's get started. Rarest coins. Cut to a vintage photo of the U.S. Mint from 1996, with voice-over narration. Before we dive into the errors and varieties, let's first take a look at the 1960 Lincoln penny in its historical context. The Lincoln cent, designed by Victor David Brenner, has been in circulation since 1909. The 1996 penny is no exception, and it features the Lincoln Memorial reverse, designed by Frank Gasparo, which had been the standard design since 1959. Cut back to the host holding a 1996 penny. The 1996 penny was struck at the Denver Mint, and the total mintage for the year was around 5.5 billion pennies. A lot of coins, right? At face value, these pennies are not rare, and most of them are worth just 1 cent. However, a few key errors and varieties make certain 1960 pennies much more valuable. Rarest coins. The camera zooms in on the 1996 penny in the host's hand as they begin to discuss why certain 1996 pennies can be worth more. So what exactly makes some of these 1996 pennies worth a lot more than just their face value? The answer lies in minting errors and varieties that make certain coins rare and desirable to collectors. These are the main factors to look out for. 1. The 1960 double die obverse, DDO, error. 2. The 1960 off-center strikes. 3. The 1960 reverse die cracks. 4. Other minting errors like die deterioration and weak strikes. Rarest coins. 1. The 1960 Lincoln penny with a double die obverse, DDO. First, let's talk about the 1960 double die obverse, DDO. One of the most sought-after errors among collectors. A DDO error happens when the coin's die is misaligned or repunched during production, resulting in doubling on the design of the coin. Zooms in on the word Liberty and the date on the 1996 penny. With the 1960 DDO penny, you'll notice doubling on the date and the word Liberty. In some cases, the doubling can be pretty subtle, but in others, it can be very clear. Look closely at the date and the phrase "In God We Trust" on the obverse. If you see a noticeable shadow or offset of the lettering, you could have a DDO error. Cut to a close-up of a 1996 penny showing clear doubling on the letters and numbers. The 1996 DDO penny is very valuable, especially if the doubling is strong and clearly visible, depending on the severity of the doubling and the condition of the coin. A 1996 DDO penny could be worth anywhere from $50 to $1,500 or more. Higher grade examples that have been professionally graded by services like PCGS or NGC can even fetch higher prices. 2. The 1996 Lincoln penny with an off-center strike. Next up, let's look at another valuable error, the off-center strike. An off-center strike occurs when the penny is misaligned during the minting process, causing part of the design to be cut off and leaving the coin with a strikingly off-center appearance. Picks up an off-center 1996 penny and shows it to the camera. On an off-center 1996 penny, the design will be shifted to one side, and part of the coin's edge will be blank, missing the design entirely. The more off-center the coin is, the more valuable it can be. Coins with extreme off-center strikes are rarer and more sought after. Cut to a side-by-side comparison showing a normal penny and an off-center 1996 penny. A typical off-center 1996 penny could be worth between $50 and $500, depending on how dramatic the strike is. Some extreme examples with huge off-center strikes could be worth even more, up to $1,000 or more, especially if they're in high grade or well-preserved condition. 3. The 1996 Lincoln penny with reverse. Welcome back to the channel. Rarest coins. If you've ever dug through your change drawer or searched your pocket change, you've probably come across a 1967 Lincoln penny. But did you know that some of these pennies could be worth a lot more than just 1 cent? Yes, that's right. Today, we're going to dive deep into the world of the 1967 Lincoln penny and uncover why certain coins from this year could be worth hundreds, even thousands of dollars. Rarest coins. The host zooms in on the penny in their hand, showing it to the camera. So, whether you're a seasoned coin collector or just starting to get into the hobby, you'll want to stick around for this one. In this video, we're going to explore rare varieties, minting errors, and valuable rarities that make the 1967 penny a hidden treasure. You won't want to miss this. Cut to black and white footage or vintage photos of the U.S. Mint in the 1960s, with a voiceover narration. Before we dive into the errors and varieties, let's take a quick look at the 1967 Lincoln penny in its historical context. The Lincoln cent, designed by Victor David Brenner, has been in circulation since 1909. By 1967, the design had already transitioned from the wheat reverse to the iconic Lincoln Memorial reverse in 1959. This change was designed by Frank Gasparro and has remained the same ever since. Cut back to the host holding a 1967 Lincoln penny. In 1967, the U.S. Mint produced over 4.4 billion pennies across 3 mints of Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. While this makes the 1967 Lincoln penny a relatively common coin overall, there are a few specific minting errors and varieties that make some of these coins far more valuable than others. The camera zooms in on the 1967 Lincoln penny as the host begins to discuss the reasons behind its potential value. $4 million rarest coins. Now, let's talk about what makes some 1967 Lincoln pennies worth a lot more than face value. While most pennies from this year are still worth just 1 cent, there are some rare errors and varieties that can make them extremely valuable. These are the key factors that can turn the 1967 Lincoln penny into a small fortune. 1. The 1967 double die obverse, DDO. Error. 2. The 1967 off-center strike. 3. The 1967 double-struck penny. 4. Other minting errors, like die cracks and weak strikes. Rarest coins. 1. The 1967 double die obverse, DDO. Error. Let's start with one of the most sought-after errors in the world of coin collecting, the double die obverse. DDO. A DDO error occurs when the coin's die is misaligned or re-engraved during the minting process, causing the design to be doubled. Zooms in on the word Liberty and the date on the 1967 penny. For a 1967 DDO penny, the most obvious doubling will be on the date and the word Liberty on the obverse of the coin. You'll notice a shadow or offset of the letter, so this is what indicates that the coin has a doubled die. The doubling can vary in intensity from faint to quite pronounced, and the more obvious the doubling, the more valuable the coin is. Cut to a close-up of a 1967 DDO penny, showing clear doubling on the word liberty and the date. Coins with strong doubling can fetch anywhere from $100 to $1,000, depending on the severity of the error and the condition of the coin. High-grade examples of this error, particularly those graded by professional services like PCGS or NGC, can be worth much more. A well-preserved, heavily doubled 1967 DDO penny could even sell for several $1,000s. 2. The 1967 off-center strike. Next up, let's talk about the off-center strike. This occurs when the penny is improperly fed into the coin press during production, causing the design to be struck off-center. As a result, part of the coin is missing the design, and part of the coin's edge might be blank. Picks up an off-center 1967 penny and shows it to the camera. On a 1967 off-center penny, the design will be misaligned on the coin, with part of the edge missing and part of the design overstruck. The more off-center the coin is, the more valuable it can be. Some examples with severe off-center strikes are extremely rare and highly coveted by collectors. Cut to a side-by-side comparison showing a normal penny and an off-center. Off-center 1967 pennies can be worth anywhere from $50 to $500, depending on how dramatic the strike is. In some cases, extremely off-center. Welcome back to the channel. Rarest coins. If you're a coin collector or just someone who enjoys finding hidden treasures in your pocket change, you're going to want to stick around for today's video. We're talking about the 1984 Lincoln penny, and believe it or not, this seemingly ordinary penny might just be worth a lot more than its face value! $2 million. Rarest coins holds up a 1984 Lincoln penny and shows it to the camera. While most of us are familiar with the penny as a 1-cent coin, there are certain years and varieties that can make these little coins worth a lot more. In fact, some 1984 Lincoln pennies can be worth hundreds of dollars or more. But what makes this coin so special? What should you look for to determine if your 1984 penny is worth a fortune? Well, that's exactly what we're going to talk about in today's video. I'll guide you through the history of the coin, how to spot valuable examples, and share some important tips for identifying rare 1984 pennies that are worth a lot of money. So, let's dive in. Cut to historical images of the U.S. Mint and footage of the Lincoln Memorial, followed by shots of the 1984 penny. Rarest coins. The Lincoln penny has been a cornerstone of U.S. currency since its introduction in 1909, commemorating the 100th anniversary of President Abraham Lincoln's birth. The design, created by Victor David Brenner, features Lincoln on the front and the iconic Lincoln Memorial on the back. Over the years, the Lincoln cent has gone through several changes, but it remains one of the most recognized and widely circulated coins in the United States. Cut to a close-up of the 1984 Lincoln penny, showing both the obverse, front, and reverse, back, of the coin. Rarest coins. The 1984 Lincoln penny was minted as the Denver Mint, indicated by the D Mint mark on the reverse side. In 1984, the U.S. Mint produced billions of pennies for circulation, but the sheer quantity doesn't necessarily mean every 1984 penny is common or unremarkable. Returns to the table with the 1984 penny on display. While many of the 1984 Lincoln pennies are still worth just 1 cent, certain varieties of this coin are incredibly rare, and that's what we're going to focus on today. Some 1984 pennies have minting errors or unique features that make them highly sought after by collectors. Cut to the host holding up a 1984 Lincoln penny and inspecting it with a magnifying glass. So, what makes the 1984 Lincoln penny worth more than face value? Like any valuable coin, the value of a 1984 penny depends on several factors, including its rarity, condition, and whether it has any minting errors or unique features. Let's go over the key reasons why some 1984 pennies can be worth a lot of money. 1. The 1984 Lincoln penny with double die obverse, DDO. Error. One of the most exciting minting errors you can find on a 1984D penny is the double die obverse or DDO. This error happens when the die used to strike the coin is misaligned or strikes the coin multiple times, resulting in a doubling effect on the lettering and numbers on the obverse side of the coin. Rarest coins zooms in on a 1984D penny with clear doubling on the date and the word Liberty. On a 1984D DDO penny, you'll notice that the date, Liberty, and even the motto "In God We Trust" will appear to be doubled or slightly offset. This kind of error is highly sought after by coin collectors because it's rare and adds a unique characteristic to an otherwise common coin. Shows a side-by-side comparison of a normal 1984D penny and a 1984D DDO penny. If you find a 1984D penny with a clear double die, you could be sitting on a coin worth $50 to $500 or more, depending on the strength of the doubling and the coin's condition. Strong examples with clear doubling on the letters and numbers can fetch premium prices at auctions and coin shows. 2. The 1984D Lincoln penny with off-center strike error. Another minting error to look out for is the off-center strike. This happens when the coin isn't perfectly aligned during the minting process, causing the design to be struck slightly off-center. If you look at the coin and part of the design or lettering seems to be missing, you might have an off-center strike error. Shows a 1984D penny with part of the design missing due to the off-center strike. An off-center 1984D penny is a rare find, and it can be quite valuable depending on how much of the design is missing. These coins can range in value from $50 to $200 or more. Welcome back to the channel. If you've ever found yourself looking through a jar of loose change and wondering if any of those old pennies are worth more than just 1 cent, you're in the right place. Today, we're going to talk about a coin that you might have overlooked at first glance, but one that could potentially be worth a lot of money. The 1970D Lincoln penny. Holds up a 1970D Lincoln penny and shows it to the camera. Rarest coins now. The 1970D penny may look like just another regular old coin, but believe me, there are certain versions of this penny that are worth way more than 1 cent. Some 1970D pennies have rare minting errors, or they might just be in such great condition that they've become highly sought after by collectors. In this video, we'll explore everything you need to know about the 1970D Lincoln penny, including what makes it so valuable, how to identify rare and valuable examples, and how you can spot these coins in your collection or pocket change. Cut to historical images of the U.S. Mint from the early 1970s, as well as photos of the Lincoln Memorial. Let's start with a little background on the 1970D Lincoln penny. The Lincoln cent has been a part of American currency since 1909. When it was first issued to honor the 100th anniversary of President Abraham Lincoln's birth. The original design, created by sculptor Victor David Brenner, featured Lincoln's portrait on the front, with the design of the Lincoln Memorial on the back. Shows close-up images of the obverse and reverse of the 1970D penny. Rarest coins in 1970. The U.S. Mint was producing a large number of pennies at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints. The 1970D penny was minted in Denver and features the D mint mark on the reverse side of the coin. As with all Lincoln cents, the coin features Lincoln's portrait on the front and the Lincoln Memorial on the back. While the design hasn't changed much over the years, the value of some coins, especially those from specific years like 1970, can vary greatly. Cut to the host holding up a 1970D Lincoln penny and inspecting it closely with a magnifying glass. Now, you might be wondering why is the 1970D Lincoln penny worth more than just a penny in some cases? Well, as with any collectible coin, there are a few factors that can significantly increase its value: rarity, condition, and minting errors. Some 1970D pennies have unique features that make them incredibly valuable to collectors. So, let's take a deeper dive into the specifics. 1. The 1970 Lincoln penny with a double die obverse, DDO, error. One of the most valuable and sought-after versions of the 1970 penny is the double die obverse or DDO error. This happens when the coin's die is misaligned during the minting process, causing the design to be struck twice. The result? You get doubling on the letters, numbers, and features on the obverse side of the coin, particularly in the word liberty and the date. Shows a 1970 penny with visible doubling on the word liberty and the date. Finding a 1970 penny with DDO is a big deal, because it's a rare error and highly sought after by collectors. When you're examining your 1970 pennies, use a magnifying glass to look at the date and the word liberty. If you see clear doubling in these areas, that's a sign that you've found a DDO penny. Shows a side-by-side comparison of a normal 1970 penny and a 1970 penny with DDO. Now, how much is this error worth? Well, it depends on the severity of the doubling and the overall condition of the coin. A 1970 DDO penny in average condition can fetch anywhere from $50 to $100. But if the doubling is strong and clear, it could easily be worth $200 to $500 or more, depending on the market and the condition. 2. The 1970 Lincoln penny with the missing mint mark or no mint mark variety. Another rare and valuable variety of the 1970 penny is the no mint mark variety. This error happens when a 1970 penny is mistakenly struck without the D mint mark, which should be on the reverse side of the coin to indicate that it was minted in Denver. Shows a close-up of a normal 1970 penny and compares it to a 1970 penny with no mint mark. Normally, a 1970 penny that was minted in Denver should have a D mint mark on the reverse. If the mint mark is missing, that's a major error and collectors will pay a premium for it. Coins with this mint mark error are often referred to as a 1970 no D penny, and while it's very rare to find one, they are highly prey. Welcome back to the channel. Rarest coins. If you've ever taken a second look at your pennies and wondered if they could be worth more than their face value, then you've come to the right place. Today, we're diving into the world of the 1971 Lincoln penny. And trust me, some of these coins could be worth way more than just 1 cent. The camera zooms in on the penny in the host's hand, showing the 1971 mint mark clearly. So, whether you've found a 1971 penny in your change drawer or you're just getting started in the world of coin collecting, stick around. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly what makes the 1971 Lincoln penny such a hot commodity, including rare varieties, minting errors, and what to look for when hunting for these valuable coins. So let's get started. Rarest coins. Cut to a vintage black and white photo of the U.S. Mint in 1971, with voice-over narration. Before we dig into the errors and varieties, let's take a quick trip back to 1971. The Lincoln cent, designed by Victor David Brenner, has been in circulation since 1909. By 1971, the design featured the iconic Lincoln Memorial reverse, created by Frank Gasparo. This design had been in place since 1959. Cut back to the host, who is holding a 1971 Lincoln penny. In 1971, the U.S. Mint produced coins at multiple locations, but one of the most important mints for this particular penny was the San Francisco Mint. While most pennies from 1971 were produced in Philadelphia and Denver, the 1971 Lincoln penny was struck only in San Francisco, which means it carries the S mint mark. Rarest coins. Camera zooms in on the 1971 Lincoln penny as the host starts discussing why certain 1971 pennies are valuable. Now, you might be thinking, how could a 1971 penny, which seems like just another common coin, be worth a lot of money? Well, There are actually a few very important factors that can make certain 1971's pennies highly valuable to collectors. These factors include minting errors, varieties, and the overall condition of the coin. Here's what you should be looking out for. 1. The 1971's double die obverse, DDO, error. 2. The 1971's high relief coin. 3. The 1971's copper penny versus zinc penny. 4. Other minting errors such as die cracks or off-center strikes. 1. The 1971's double die obverse, DDO, error. Let's start with the double die obverse, DDO, error. This is one of the most exciting and valuable types of minting errors you can find. A DDO happens when a die used to strike the coin is misaligned or repunched, causing the design to appear doubled. This is especially noticeable on the date and liberty on the obverse of the coin. Zooms in on the word liberty and the date on the 1971's penny, showing clear doubling. For the 1971's DDO penny, the most noticeable features will be doubling on the letters of the word liberty, and the date itself. In some cases, you may also notice doubling on the "In God We Trust" inscription. Cut to a close-up of a 1971's penny showing clear doubling on the date and liberty. If you find a 1971's DDO penny, it could be worth hundreds of dollars depending on the severity of the doubling and the condition of the coin. These coins typically sell for anywhere from $50 to $500, but coins that are well preserved and have strong doubling can be worth even more. In some cases, higher grade examples can fetch up to $1,000 or more, particularly if they've been professionally graded by services like PCGS or NGC. 2. The 1971's high relief coin. Rarest coins. Another reason the 1971's Lincoln penny could be worth a lot is because of the high relief coins produced that year. Now, this isn't an error in the traditional sense, but it's a rarity that can make certain 1971's pennies stand out. Picks up a penny with visible high relief features. High relief coins are those where the design is raised or protrudes much more than the typical coin. In some cases, 1971's pennies were struck with extra high relief, making the design of Abraham Lincoln and the Lincoln Memorial more prominent. This makes these coins rare and desirable to collectors who love the aesthetics of coins with deeper relief. Cut to a comparison between a regular 1971's penny and a high-relief 1971's penny. These high-relief 1971's pennies can be worth anywhere from $50 to $200, but the value increases significantly if the coin is in good condition and has been well preserved. Some example.